This video is all about a topic that is much discussed in the music world. Not necessarily in the DJ world, but the wider music world. And that is, do DJs really just press play? So this came about really when, back in 2012, deadmau5 wrote a post on his Tumblr that was called "We All Press Play." And that just gave everyone the impression that it applied to all DJs and this was easy to do and there's very little skill, blah, blah, blah. So in this video, I want to talk about the realities. Do DJs really just press play, or is it specific types and how that works? So the short answer is no, DJs don't really just press play. That's not all there is to it. There's plenty more to it. But then there are other artists that in some form or another do press play. And this is what deadmau5 was talking about in his Tumblr post. So he was arguing in that post that he is a producer primarily. So his work is all done in the studio when he is creating those tunes. That's where his magic happens. And then when he goes out on stage, he's there to play those tunes, but he's kind of limited in what he can do. He has to recreate them. It's not a live band. He is an electronic artist, so it's not as if he can necessarily have a live band there recreating all of the tracks. So he has built his track, but then he separates it all out again so that he can trigger those elements live and rebuild his tracks live on stage. But what he was saying is that there is an element of just pressing play in that, because the majority of the work obviously is done in the studio. On stage, he is just recreating his tracks. And he argues that the shows themselves are less about creating live music and more just about bringing people together with that music and creating a great party and everyone having a really good time at this spectacle. So this was backed up by Afrojack. There's a video that I've embedded in the article that goes with this video that you can get bestdjsetup.com/play. You can find the video there. And in that, Afrojack is chatting to Laid Back Luke, and he argues or explains that the reason artists and producers have to in some way pre-plan and press play on certain parts of their show is because there is a much wider spectacle that goes with DJ shows. Because with a band, you have the band members on stage, you have 4 or 5 people, they can all be animated and there's things to watch. Whereas with a DJ or an artist, there's much less to watch. You're generally looking at someone pushing buttons and twiddling knobs. So this is why you now have these incredibly elaborate stage shows that go with some of the superstar DJs. And it's to make the entire experience a lot more engaging and a lot more visually stunning, basically. So for that to go off, for the lights to match the music, for the projections to match the music, there has to be an element of pre-planning that goes into these shows. So that's what deadmau5 was talking about, and this is what Afrojack was explaining, is that for those shows to go off as smoothly as possible, there are of course elements that have to be pre-planned. But they are still doing stuff on stage. It's not as if they just walk up and press play and then just dance around for an hour. I mean, apart from anything else, that would be incredibly boring for the artist themselves. Now, that's producer artists, but what about DJs? So your average DJ, or most DJs that you see in clubs, bars, they are not just pressing play. They are creating their sets on the fly. So sometimes it'll be their own music. More often than not, it's other people's music. And they are selecting the tracks, they are beat matching them, and then they are mixing them in using the mixer, obviously. So they press play at the beginning of a track, but then there's still a lot of work that goes into blending those tracks together to make mixes as seamless as possible and create an entire set. So there is a lot more skill that goes into that that kind of set, because they are, aside from anything else, reacting to the crowd. So if they play certain types of tracks that the crowd don't like and it clears the dance floor, then a DJ on the fly can adjust the direction of their set, the type of songs that they are playing, to keep that crowd as happy and engaged as possible. So those types of sets and those DJs are creating everything on the fly. There is no pressing play and just letting it roll, because again, boring for the DJ. Now, that's not to say it doesn't happen. Of course it does. And the analogy for this would be singers who just mime and lip sync. So that of course happens, but it's rare and it's a little bit sad and pathetic when it happens. So the same in the DJ world. If a DJ has pre-recorded a set to just press play and, you know, pretend for an hour, then I mean, that's just sad. It shows that that DJ, as with the singer, doesn't have confidence in their own abilities to put on a good show and give people the show that they'd expect from what they've heard on their recorded material. So while pre-recorded sets, I'm sure, do exist, they are very rare, and I think a lot of the time people could actually just see through it anyway. So it definitely doesn't happen as much as people think it does. DJing is not as easy as people think it is. I mean, technology has made it easier over the years, but there's a lot of skill that goes into it, especially when DJs care about their audience and the shows that they put on, and also care about their reputation. Like, the last thing a DJ wants to do is get known for pre-recording sets, because why would you bother going and seeing that live? Anyway, so that covers the two types of artist or musician that is out there playing and how they might be deemed to be pressing play, but it depends on the type of show that they are doing. If you want to see the video with Afrojack and Laidback Luke talking about this, it's a great video, goes very much in depth and explains why these superstar DJs put on the shows that they do and how they do it. Then go to bestdjsetup.com/play and you'll see everything that I've explained broken down in much more detail with more examples, and then of course that video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and thanks for watching.